you're working a little bit with Eric with an app. Tell me about your app and the technology progress and journey and what it does and such.
Well, I'm glad you used the word journey because it has been a journey with a happy ending, but it's been a long, arduous task. We were warned that building an app is difficult, and it certainly has been. Uh, Eric is our digital marketing guy who has been working with the app, but also getting the word out. We started this venture about 10 years ago. And when we contracted with this company in the Middle East, uh, with us and our partners, it took 8 years to put it out there. So it was very, very long with a lot of input. Um, and now that it's out, we're hoping people will look at it. We changed our focus mostly due to my daughter, Dr. Rachel Griffiths, who has been a partner in this all along. And from the very outset, she was thinking that this app, which helps people, everyone, identify drowning victims on a simulator that you can use on your phone or your desktop, and the different scenes in an indoor pool and an outdoor pool are the same scenes that we've seen repeatedly on security cameras of actual drownings. And we use real life avatars. But initially, we were going after swimming pools with lifeguards. And because in-service training is so important, it's required by the standard of care that pools have regular in-service training. And because this app records whenever anyone is on the app for how much time they've spent, what scenarios they're good at or bad at, it would go right to the facilities administrative panel, and they would have a record for time spent in service doing this visual training, this vigilance training. And my daughter Rachel felt that, yes, we should be doing that, but the people who need it most are the moms and the dads and the grandpas and the grandmas and the babysitters who haven't had lifeguard training at all, and they should be viewing the app. And so we were so impassioned about it. We feel so good about it. Rather than charging a fee for users, we decided to make it for free. So the app is free to everyone and anyone in the world online now.
Excellent. Then how long of time, how many minutes, or what type of devotion does it take to get through the experience?
It's the indoor pool and the outdoor pool that we have set up now. They're both just shy of 15 minutes. Keeping in mind, you can pause it at any time and come back to it. There's about 8 scenarios in each video. We include elderly lap swimmers having a medical event, shallow water blackout victims who are swimming repeatedly across the pool underwater, kids going down a slide, kids going over a diving board. And the object is, when you see them in distress, to tap them as quickly as you can before they disappear beneath the surface of the water. And then it gives you feedback. Good job, you spotted that victim in 8 seconds. Or, sorry, you missed the victim. Keep trying, you'll get better at this. And we have to tell you, it's difficult, just like being a lifeguard, really. It's difficult. We have about 15, 20 people in the pool, and they're just recreating like they normally would, jumping in and out of the pool, playing on a noodle, wall walking along the wall. And it's difficult to spot these. In fact, some of the frustration with some of the facility managers, they wanted to use it, but they were surprised how difficult it is. And that's the whole point. The more you practice it, the better you get at it. And if nothing else, it's a reminder when you're on duty, this is what you get paid to do.
Fabulous. And then tell me a little more about the money. You've had to invest a lot of cash into this, and you don't have any sponsors, or how do you monetize this?
Actually, that's a very sensitive question. The bottom line is it's a lot of money. And basically, we, my daughter and I, the Aquatic Safety Research Group, are funding it ourselves. And we did have a good partner. And 8 years is a long time. And one of our partners, and I can't blame them, decided that, hey, we keep putting money in this pit and we don't see any results for it. So they pulled out. But yeah, it was 8 years and a lot of money, and it's totally funded by us. And I think the bottom line is we're providing a service that hasn't been provided before. There was no real visual or mental training in lifeguarding and detecting victims. And detection is the most difficult thing in lifeguarding, and recognition. Responding to emergency is as easy once you realize it's an emergency. But we've been very fortunate. We've been able to survive financially and do pretty well since my retirement from Penn State University in 2009. And it's an opportunity for us to give back. And it's about drowning prevention. And the whole reason why we got into this, we were just so upset and sick and tired of seeing little children of tender years drowning when it's so easy to prevent if you keep your eyes on the water and you know what you're looking for. So yeah, basically financially, I really don't want to get into it, but we fund it ourselves now.
And then the benchmark as to who should use it, and how do you know if it's growing? How can you tell? And who should we be looking
it's all about downloads. Right now, we're getting hundreds of downloads, so people are getting it and using it, and so we haven't measured how successful they are or how much they like it. What we'd really like to do is also get it in the hands of facilities who would pay a small subscription fee to have us feed them with data, how successful their lifeguards are, how long they're on it. And the fee is based upon the number of lifeguards they have working for them. And the fee is very inexpensive. It's a yearly fee, 1 year, and then you can renew it. And in that way, it would give us a better idea of how lifeguards are performing on it, and also not only inform the facility managers and supervisors about how their lifeguards are using it and when they're using it, but also, again, they don't have to do anything to track their in-service hours. I mean, this is only one portion of in-service, but it's an in-service skill that has not been used to date.
Well, opens up a conversation that we should have maybe in the next time. We'll take this conversation and share it to a couple people, but maybe we could embed this as like an option or an add-on to the things that happen with the International Swim Coaches Association, or we're talking to a couple other people that have like swim lesson curriculums, and then we could add this as a course or as an extra onto that as well. So hey, you're going to teach your staff how to teach your beginning swimming lessons, but you should also be doing this as well.
Well, absolutely. And the other thing with the swim schools, swim schools are popping up all over the country, and this is free for parents. And from a safety and service and even profitability, wouldn't it be great to say, sign up for our swimming lessons, and by the way, we'll offer you this free app that teaches you what to look for after your child's swim lessons, and you go to birthday parties in a backyard pool or a 4th of July. Here's what you should do. Or a residential pool owner who has a 4th of July party and says, everybody come over, bring a dish or whatever. And by the way, check out this app before you come. All of the groups that you mentioned can use this for free. We're getting great reviews. And again, most people find it very realistic, but also very challenging, which is a good thing. And what can happen, the indoor pool is for free. The outdoor pool there's a really small fee. And so once they complete the indoor pool and they like that, then they can subscribe to the outdoor pool. And I think it's only like $4.99 for life or something ridiculously cheap. We try to keep it as reasonable as possible so more people use it. But, they have the option to add on after the indoor pool, and the outdoor pool has different scenarios. And of course, the environment is different.
Tell me a little bit about Rachel. Give me a proud dad moment.
Yeah, she lives on Redondo Beach, California, literally just about on the beach. They look across the South Bay and can see Malibu from where they are. But she has always wanted to work with me since she was a youngster, and I would share these stories, mostly these drowning stories and these tragic stories. And so she got her master's at the University of Maryland Communication. She got her doctorate from Loma Linda in accident prevention through the Department of Health. And so she's been a great addition to our company because she can access materials and research journals that normal pedestrians, including myself, cannot. So she develops new strategies and new topics for us. Particularly, she went to Stanford University to study with a notable professor there who recently died, who did the Stanford prison experiment, but he got into this hero imagination project. But she studied with him to learn about the bystander effect. One of the aspects was the bystander effect, why normal everyday people walk past someone in distress without taking action. And we found through carefully watching videos of pools that lifeguards, like all human beings, suffer from the bystander effect. When they see a drowning victim on the bottom of the pool, they often will look at the other lifeguard to see what he or she is doing. And when they don't act, they don't act. So we've done that. And Rachel also explored, while she was at the University of Maryland, she studied internal noise, the thoughts and emotions that go on in your brain, the feelings and the thoughts that go on your brain while you're trying to communicate with someone. Oftentimes, you're prevented from listening to what the person is saying to you because you have these thoughts and emotions going on in your head. Well, lo and behold, we surveyed nearly 900 lifeguards internationally, and we found out that lifeguards have a lot of internal noise going on, internal commotion and noise while they're sitting in the lifeguard chair watching. So oftentimes they are distracted from seeing victims in the water because their eyes may be in the present, but their brains are either in the past or the future. So it doesn't measure. So she's brought to our company new research and new strategies. She does all the PowerPoints. She's working on I did a complete 2-day audit of an aquatic facility by a major Ivy League school in New England just recently. I send her the rough draft and she polishes it up, adds her opinions and so forth. She does an inspection for me there. I'm defending a lake in Northern California in a lawsuit, and she lives in California, so she's doing the inspections. She's very good at inspections and writing up those inspections with her recommendations and with illustrations and so forth. So I hope I'm not talking too long.
No, that's great. That's wonderful to have her as a sidekick. Yeah.
Right. It's really great. And then the other thing personally is we have a great job in Nevada every year. And Nevada is a wonderful state. When you say Nevada, people say Las Vegas. Well, we don't have work in Las Vegas, but we work for a very good insurance company called Pool Pact. And they hire us to evaluate all of their insured pools. Now, their insureds are basically municipalities all across the state. So we just came back from a week in June inspecting 8 municipal pools and then teaching a full day course, aquatic risk management. And then we do that write-up. We send it to the insurance company. And if they see that we have a priority ranking for a hazard or a risk at a facility, then they will provide funds to make sure that that hazard is mitigated. And we've been working for them, I think, for 12 years. We've done 12 Junes in Nevada and all these little tiny mining towns. And it's such a rewarding experience to go back 3 years later to the same facility and see all the wonderful changes that they've made because of our recommendations.
Wow, that's excellent. We're talking a lot about insurance with some coaches in Canada now. That's a quagmire, isn't it? And we don't, maybe someday we could also talk about insurance. How's that industry in aquatics these days with closing pools or, higher and higher cost? And I guess it's state by state here. That company only focuses on Nevada as a customer base. And
Well, Pool Pact is an insurance pool that primarily covers municipalities in Nevada. And now, to give you an example, CIRSA, the Colorado insurance pool, just insures municipalities in Colorado. Then there is a Midwest Pool Pact that we've worked for that does a variety of states in the Midwest. Another company we're also working with, and we've had several conference calls with them, is United Educators. Now, United Educators just insures colleges, universities, and private schools, private high schools. And we've had several conference calls with them. We did a string of aquatic risk management programs for New England private schools a while ago. We did that 5 years in a row. I've done 2 Ivy League school inspections this past year because they recommended us to the schools. And so that's how we deal with that. But I really think if you want to know more about insurance, you got to speak to someone like, I'm trying to think of his name, the young gentleman that used to work for Gareth Hedges. Gareth Hedges used to run the Redwoods Insurance Company. Now, the Redwoods Insurance Company is a very good company that insures YMCAs, JCCs, boys clubs, and girls clubs. And they're very proactive in preventing drowning and accidents. And he's doing other things now, but he would be, Gareth Hedges is a great one to speak to about insurance because he ran a big insurance company. I'm not the guy to talk to him about insurance. My insurance rates for liability go up every year. I mean, it's astronomical. I'm not complaining. I'm just stating a fact. All the insurance premiums are going up and up and up, but I just don't know enough about. I know who I work for, but I don't know how they work.
That's okay. Great. Then you've been around the industry a long time. What trends are you seeing? Are we ever going to be able to turn back all these deaths with drowning? What do you see globally, and what do we need to do?
Yeah, and we work internationally. We worked for we inspected all of the different classifications for ships for Royal Caribbean. We worked for the One and Onlys International, which are high-end resorts in Mauritius and Dubai. We worked for, and I'm not bragging, I'm just saying we have experience internationally. The Atlantis resorts in the Bahamas and Dubai, we worked for them. I'll tell you the bottom line, Mark, and this is really important, and I know this, and we believe this strongly. We're not going to see a dip in drowning rates until we get every pool involved with some type of technology, because technology is more vigilant than a human being is. Now, our app we think will improve vigilance, just like the 5-minute scanning strategy we developed at Penn State about 25 years ago. We know that helps vigilance. But as long as we use human beings to watch other human beings, some of those human beings in the water are going to slip through the cracks. If you look at one of the first drowning technologies like Poseidon, the Poseidon system, which is very expensive but very effective, they had over 50 drowning detections that alerted the lifeguards on duty that this person was unconscious on the bottom of the pool. And as a result, they all recovered, but the lifeguards never saw them. I mean, it was 50-0. And the best example I can give you comparing technology to human behavior is when we used to board a plane with a paper ticket with our flight number and the city destination printed on it, and we showed it to a flight attendant out front, and they would say, "Yes, Mr. Griffiths, please join our flight. Welcome aboard." Well, on a regular basis, they would wave through Tom Griffiths, who was going to Houston supposedly, but he really wanted to go to San Antonio, and they missed it. Just had to read the ticket. And what's the difference now? Why don't people get on the wrong flight? Is because of the barcode. The computer beeps and the red light comes on and says, "Oh, Mr. Griffiths, you're boarding the wrong flight." So that's just one little example of how technology can improve human performance. We've been trying to improve supervision for decades. And now even the drowning rate is creeping up. We've been working really hard in all the organizations, water safety training agencies, the Centers for Disease Control, all the general safety organizations have been saying, you've got to be constantly vigilant. Human beings aren't constantly vigilant. Here's another deal. Buy a car today and count the number of audio and visual warnings you have for the hazards around you. Low gas, driving too fast, cars in your blind spot, you're backing up and going to hit someone, child in the back seat. Why do we have all these warnings on our automobiles? Because humans are not vigilant. And so rather than, we want to continue to try to strengthen human supervision. We've got to do that. That's our responsibility. However, we really need to supplement supervision with technologies.
And are you seeing the price of that becoming more affordable, or how do you?
Yes, there's more and more coming out. And in fact, I would look at my email because I received it recently. A guy that we know who has a wearable device for swimming pools that goes to a computer that sends an alarm when they become motionless in the water within seconds, now has 500 installations. And that price, all those prices are coming down because now there's competition. And so they're coming down. And I truly believe we can teach people all we want to watch the water and be vigilant, but people see what they want to see and they see what they expect to see. And oftentimes their brain is protecting them from traumatic stuff. So I did a lot of work at the University of Maryland sports psychology. And so that's my basis for this. And I followed this all along. But that's what we need is more technology. So that, to answer your question, that is a great trend that has to become more popular. More people have to invest in it. And many pools that are going into it now are going to it after they had a drowning event. And so, it would be wise to utilize these technologies, which are effective. They do work before you have a drowning. The other thing I might add is, it's totally new to me, new to me in the last 10 years, is to see in strip malls how entrepreneurs have taken an empty retail space and created an indoor pool. And kids are learning how to swim and getting stroke instruction for the swim team and learning how to lifeguard in these little tiny indoor spaces all over the country, whether it be Southern California or the Washington, D.C. area. I think that's a huge trend, and I think that's a really, really good one. One of the things that I don't like seeing, and I don't blame the parents for doing this because they've lost loved ones, is we've made great strides in getting weaker swimmers and non-swimmers to wear Coast Guard approved life jackets in all bodies of water, including swimming pools and water parks. Well, tragically, some of those children that could have been saved by wearing the life jacket took it off and then went into the pool and drowned. So now there's a strong and vocal, and I'm not being critical of them, but they're sending the message that it was because of this increased confidence of wearing the life jacket that caused their child to drown. We used to say that about seatbelts and airbags, and we know that data has shown that that's not true. And so I hope people, don't stop wearing life jackets because it's going to keep their child and make their child overconfident, because that's not true. Another problem we have in that regard, and Mark, cut me off when I'm talking too much, are these box stores, these big box stores that sell these inexpensive, brightly colored flotation devices with, super kitties and Paw Patrol and all these superheroes printed on them, and they're cheap and their parents get them because the labeling says, or the advertisement on the box says, relax around the pool with the swim aid. They call it a swim aid, and your child will have hours of fun, and they learn how to swim faster wearing the swim aid. When they're not Coast Guard approved, they can deflate. Excuse me. They can slip off, and so we have to do a better job teaching the public and teaching the manufacturers and distributors that there's a significant difference between a swim aid and a Coast Guard approved life jacket. And a swim aid needs hypervigilant parents who are an arm's length away. A life jacket does too, but we haven't found a child ever drowning in a swimming pool or a water park while wearing a Coast Guard approved life jacket.
So that one company you mentioned, and I probably would cut this out of the publishing, but was that the Wave?
Yeah.
The wears the
Yeah.
the headband. And
Mark contacted me yesterday and again today, and we've been in contact a lot because he wants to help us get the word out about our app, and I'm suggesting to him, like I'm suggesting to you, there's an advantage of a multi-layered approach where you can say, okay, you can buy this device, this technology to help you, to help us spot drowning victims. But we also have this free app that makes you a more vigilant parent or lifeguard. And not only can you use what you learn in the app at our pool with the drowning prevention technology there, but you could also use it at home in your backyard pool or a swim party or at the local JCC or YMCA.
yeah, fabulous. Yeah, I thank you for your time. And your leads. We'll get the word out on our podcast. It's called Heavy or Not, and we're having fun with it, trying to find our voice. And
yeah, it looks good. I mean, it really does. The diversity of topics is really, really interesting. So I appreciate you doing that. Thanks, and good luck with it. And if you want to interview Rachel, I like to talk. I love to talk. Rachel, not so much. But if she gets questions first, oftentimes she might be willing to do it. So you could contact her, email her, because at least you would get a younger perspective and a female perspective. And of course, she's a mom with a young 4-year-old daughter who is now boogie boarding at Redondo Beach and has taken swim lessons at these little retail shops, as they call them. So that's a possibility for you.
Great. Yeah. So in the boogie boarding, you can't wear one of those waves, I guess, right? Because you'd have to have.
Interestingly, I believe the Wave was first made for flatwater lakes. So it was an open water device. Now, I don't know if it could be worn in the surf, and probably not, because you'd be bouncing around. Interesting point about Southern California beaches. Rachel heads up our Note and Float Life Jacket Fund, which is a nonprofit, which we also fund. And every year she awards 3 to 5 pools with free life jackets, provided they follow our protocol for testing swimmers who didn't pass the facility swim test, and then they have to wear a life jacket. And she's a big proponent of life jackets, and we live by that. We've given thousands of life jackets away to needy communities. And she put her daughter in a life jacket. I won't mention which beach, but on a Southern California beach, and the lifeguards whistled her out, said, "You can't wear a life jacket in the ocean here." She said, "Well, why not? My daughter's not going to drown in a life jacket." She says, "No, you can't do it." And then she pursued it, and they said it was a law, a California law. You couldn't wear a life jacket at the beach. So she's been beating her head against the wall, and this can't be safe. How could this be? It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense. So I shouldn't give her name because maybe she'll get arrested now. So now she's been putting her daughter in a wetsuit and a float suit, which is not a life jacket. It's not a Coast Guard approved life jacket, but it provides as much buoyancy. So show me a cheater and we'll show you a winner.
Wow. Yeah. I guess in California, they're also going to outlaw the sale of some of those wearable
puddle jumpers.
Yeah, puddle jumpers. Yeah.
Well, if it's puddle jumpers, they're Coast Guard approved, but we're not huge fans of puddle jumpers. One of the things with puddle jumpers is you can't put them on a child that's less than 30 pounds. You need an infant life jacket for them. But I really shouldn't comment on that unless I know they're really puddle jumpers. I think you might be thinking of the water wings, the little inflatable things. Some people call them flugies. Some people call them water wings. And if it's just the armbands, those should be banned because we've seen them deflate. We've seen them slip off, and that can cause drowning, and they have. So I would say ban the water wings. I'm not so sure about the puddle jumpers because they are Coast Guard approved.
Okay. And then how do people get in touch with you, or what's your website? How do they download the app?
The app, they go to Dr. Tom's Lifeguard Vision, and it'll pop up, and they can download it for free. And then to get in touch with Rachel or myself, they can just go to our website. And I've got to say one more thing before you go. We have to talk about my podcast, or Rachel's podcast. They can go to aquaticsafetygroup.com, www.aquaticsafetygroup.com, and you can see a lot of free information that they can download and seminars that we give, all our services. And Eric Davis is very good about promoting our services. But we do these podcasts. We've been doing them once a week. We've almost done 100. And we look back at the different cases we've had over the years, mostly mine. And we describe what took place, what were the good things that happened, what were the bad things that happened, why did this person drown or break their neck, and what could be done in the future. And that was Rachel's idea. Rachel monitors that and is kind of the narrator, and we just have this discussion. Those take less than 10 minutes. We're approaching 100 podcasts, and we have listeners in 24 countries. Thousands of listeners in 24 countries. And again, it's totally free. And many of these cases are bizarro type cases. All of them are tragic. And if something in the news pops up that seems to be unusual or sensational, we'll cover that. For instance, at Asbury Park, New Jersey, just recently, you probably saw or read where a lifeguard was grabbing an umbrella on the chair, and the umbrella flew off. She tried to grab it and impaled her, fortunately through the armpit. She's okay. But what I saw and what I found out, and I told Rachel, lifeguard umbrellas that you put on a chair or through a table, a picnic table, should have a flat bottom, shouldn't have a pointy bottom. A pointy bottom is to put in the sand. And I said, I bet you this young lady was using a lifeguard with a pointy bottom. And sure enough, there's a picture of her in the hospital bed where they cut off the umbrella and had a pointy bottom. Probably would never happen if it wasn't a pointy bottom. So we hope to do that one. But Yeah, so it's either a lawsuit that we've worked on, or it's a sensational bit in the news. Recently there was a child actor, a very famous child actor, who got caught in a rip current in Costa Rica and drowned. And I've been in a very long rip current in Costa Rica. And I was kind of laughing because I was watching my wife disappear, but fortunately I knew how narrow a rip current was, so I just had to move over a little bit. But Mark, you're getting more information than you ever thought you would.
No, that's not. What's the name of that podcast?
Oh, it's a great name. It's Rachel's name. The Drowning Files. And it includes swim team kids dying because of seizure disorders or shallow water blackout. It includes kids drowning during swimming lessons. Just a variety of, double drownings, triple drownings in the ocean, in lakes, in pools. And we try to be as honest, as accurate as we can. We don't mention names or places because we just don't. Everyone has gone through a lot. I always say when there's a drowning death and you have a plaintiff who was suing and a defendant who's defending their actions, all of them are victims because the family lost a family member, but the facility, they can't sleep at night because it happened when they were on their watch. So, I try to keep everything anonymous. I usually give the geographical location. For instance, earlier in this meeting, I said I worked for 2 universities in New England, in the Northeast. I didn't say which ones.
Right. Okay, well, I'll check out the Drowning Files. I'll give that some love as well. And thanks for all you do.
Yeah, thanks. I think the key is getting this app out to as many people as possible and emphasizing the fact that it's free and emphasizing the fact that they can use it anytime, anywhere on their laptop or on their phone. I mean, that's the beauty of it. That's why we came up with it.
Absolutely.
Great.
Have a safe summer.
Yes, you too. And let's stay in touch. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.